12 January 2026 is an important date for anyone in Singapore who cares about local politics. On that day, Parliament will sit to discuss how it should respond to the conviction of Pritam, the leader of opposition, Secretary General of the Workers' Party, and the sitting members of Parliament. This is the first parliamentary sitting involving Pritam after his conviction on 2 counts of lying to the parliamentary committee. The news broke. Some friends who don't follow politics closely asked me a very simple question. Is Pritam going to be disqualified or suspended from being an MP? My answer was immediate. No, definitely not. Please stay with me. I will explain why he's secure, what could happen, and why it won't derail him. First, let's clear the misconception my non-political friends keep raising. This sitting was announced by Leader of the House, Ms. Raja, as a dedicated session to handle outstanding matters related to Pritam Singh's case. It will be conducted by the Speaker of Parliament, Mr. Seah Kian Pin, who oversees the proceeding to ensure they are fair and orderly. This is not a trial, this is not an impeachment. What's happening is a parliament sitting where motions may be moved. A motion is simply a formal proposal by an MP that Parliament debates and votes on. For example, in 2016, the Parliament moved a motion congratulating Joseph Schooling's achievements at Olympic Games. These motions will be debated in the House. It's a political process, not a legal one, designed to record Parliament's view rather than enforce criminal penalties. Let's start with the most dramatic one and eliminate it immediately. Disqualification as an MP. Under Article 45 of the Singapore Constitution, an MP is disqualified only if either he is sentenced to at least 1 year in prison or he is fined at least $10,000 for a single offense. Pritam Singh was not jailed, and although he was fined $14,000 in total, that amount came from 2 separate fines of $7,000 each. Constitutionally, fines cannot be added up together to cross the threshold. So, disqualification is not unlikely. It is legally impossible. Parliament cannot vote around the Constitution. From that, my friends also like to ask, what about stripping Pritam of his title as leader of the opposition? This is legally possible because the role exists by convention, not constitutional guarantee, but politically extremely unlikely. Why? He is the first formally recognized leader of opposition in Singapore's history. Removing the title looks punitive. It signals political insecurity rather than confidence. In politics, you don't weaken your own institutional reforms unless absolutely necessary. Next, suspension from Parliament sitting. Yes, Parliament technically has this power, but suspension is a serious escalation, especially when applied to a party leader. Let's look at specific cases where MPs were suspended for issues involving dishonesty or misleading Parliament, as these are often cited as parallels. First, Ian Paisley Jr., a Democratic Unionist Party MP in the UK. What happened? In 2018, he failed to declare 2 luxury family holidays to Sri Lanka paid for by the Sri Lankan government, then lobbied on their behalf without disclosure. The Parliamentary Standards Committee found this was very serious misconduct, including providing misleading information to investigators during the inquiry. The punishment, he was suspended from the House of Commons for 30 sitting days, which triggered a recall petition in his constituency, though he survived a by-election. Another example was Dawn Butler, a Labour MP in the UK as well. In 2021, during a House debate, she directly accused then Prime Minister Boris Johnson of misleading Parliament multiple times about COVID rules. The Speaker ruled her language unparliamentary for implying dishonesty. The punishment? She was ordered to withdraw her statement. When she refused, she was ejected and suspended from the chamber for the rest of the day. These cases were politically messy. Suspensions triggered backlash, public sympathy, and even electoral risks. Now ask, what does suspending the leader of the opposition achieve for the PAP? It doesn't restore the trust, it extends controversy, and it turns the discipline into spectacle. This is why suspension is legally possible but politically unattractive. Now we arrive at the most likely outcome, censure, recorded in Hansard. Hansard is Parliament's official verbatim record of everything said and decided in the House. Once something is recorded in Hansard, it becomes institutional memory, permanent and referenceable forever. In Westminster-inspired systems, censure is often used to address controversies involving standards, trust, and dishonesty. Take Adam Schiff, a Democratic representative in the U.S. House, as an example. In 2023, during investigation into alleged ties between a former president and a foreign interference, Schiff was accused of misleading the American public by rapidly claiming evidence of collusion that a special counsel later disputed. Republicans argue this breached standards of honesty in public statements. The punishment? The House passed a censure resolution in a party-line vote, officially condemning his conduct as misleading the American public and unbecoming of a member. This didn't remove him or suspended him, but it permanently stained his record in the official proceedings, affecting his legacy and the future debates. Censure motions like this are powerful because they set the official narrative without needing jail or fines. This may sound mild, but politically, this is serious. A censure follows a politician for years. In future debates, in election campaigns, in historical accounts, it shapes how the public and the media remember the issue, potentially impact the voter perceptions long term. And censure will come bundled with something else, COP reaffirmation or closing the file. Right now, the issue is open-ended. The Committee of Privileges inquiry happened. The court case ended with fines. Parliament delays its response until after the trial. Closing the file means Parliament formally says, we have considered this, we have debated, this chapter is complete, no further action needed. But why is it so important? Because without closure, the matter stays forever. For example, people whispered about secret probes that might drag on forever, keeping the story alive and distracting from the real issues. This in limbo creates uncertainty. Will there be more hearings, more charges? It lets rumors spiral, eroding trust in the process. Closing the file dismisses all that by showing Parliament has reviewed everything, recorded its view, and declared it over. No more open ends, no more speculation. It signals transparency and lets everyone move forward. Parliaments hate unresolved controversies. They distract from legislation. They dominate debate. Closure lets everyone, both government and opposition, get back to work. Now, the big question. Will Pritam resign? Legally, no need. Politically, highly unlikely. Many people online like to refer to Boris Johnson's case, but his case is often misunderstood, and the circumstances before his resignation were very different from Pritam's. Johnson faced the Partygate scandal starting in 2021. Photos and reports emerged of lockdown parties at Downing Street while the UK public was under strict COVID rules. He was fined £50 by police for attending one event, his own birthday gathering. But the bigger issue was misleading Parliament. He rapidly told the House all rules were followed despite evidence he knew otherwise. The fallout, a privilege committee investigation found he had deliberately misled MPs. They recommended a 90-day suspension and a censure, but Johnson didn't resign just because of the fine or criticism. He resigned in July 2022 as Prime Minister because his party abandoned him. Over 50 ministers and aides resigned, including key figures like Rishi Sunak and Sajid Javid. MPs threatened no-confidence votes. His own backbencher withdrew support, seeing him as a liability to party survival ahead of elections. Staying became more damaging than leaving. It threatened the Conservative Party's entire hold on power. Pritam Sim is not facing that situation at all. His party, the Workers' Party, has not fractured. Senior figures had not turned against him publicly. There's no wave of resignations or leadership challenge creating a vacuum. The opposition ecosystem in Singapore is smaller and more unified, without the same internal revolt dynamics. Lastly, this is the part many commentators ignored. Pritam Sim is not only popular in Ajuni GRC, he is the most recognizable opposition leader nationwide. He connects across demographics. He appeals to younger voters, and in a system where opposition bench strength matters, he remains the most promising opposition politician of his generation.